How about those Devils? How about those Devils?
How about those Devils? Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And the Devils come back to the Rock last night, hosting the Flyers, looking to bounce back after a lackluster performance in Philadelphia. And bounce back they do, putting the absolute smackdown on the Flyers by a score of 5-0. I must ask, I must know.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? Starting at the top yesterday afternoon, we find out that Nico Hischier is week to week, and this is one of my worst fears coming true. In the last post-game live, I had mentioned that I really hope he genuinely is day-to-day. However, that was very optimistic. Yesterday, the team announces week to week, and it seems like Nico Hischier is done till sometime after the Four Nations. Hopefully, he doesn't miss too many games after that, but we might be looking at sometime in early March for Nico Hischier. We'll keep a close eye on this as it develops, but obviously Nico, our best overall player, plays all situations, power play, penalty kill. Amazing two-way forward, leads the team in goals, a face-off wizard, and we saw how much we struggled without him in Philly the other night. Hopefully Nico heals soon, gets well, gets back to the lineup. The boys are going to be without him for some stretch of time. Coming off of that news, we see some more lineup changes. Top line of Palat, Jackhughes, and Bratt. A second line with Mercer centering again. Timo Meier and Stefan Nason. A third line of Paul Cotter, Justin Dowling, Tomas Tatar. Leaving the fourth line for Curtis MacDermid, Curtis Lazar, and Nate Bastian. And some changes to the D pairings as well. We see Siegenthaler with Hamilton, Dillon and Pesce, and Lukehughes and Kovacevic. And overall, I thought, okay, on paper, I liked it. We saw the D pairs changed up a little bit mid-game last game. Keefe decides to start this game with some new D pairs. These are some interesting line combinations. Obviously, you guys know I am all for Curtis MacDermid being in the lineup, especially for a game like Philly, especially the way that last game played. Heavier, edgier, more violent. Curtis MacDermid, the toughest man in the National. Love to see him get in the lineup, and he had an effect on the game last night. We get to the game. First period, the Devils did not look so great. Flyers with 10 shots on goal, Devils with 7 shots on goal. They looked a little flat. We've seen that a lot in first periods from the Devils this season. They had a couple chances. Flyers seemed to have more, and it was just a period where you're like, oh boy, this could be a long night if something doesn't change. They draw a late penalty, which was amazing. They get the power play late in the period. They generate a couple chances in the last 20 seconds, can't get one to go, and they will start the second period with a minute 26 power play on the clean sheet of ice. I'd love to see our skill guys get a good bulk of power play time on the clean sheet. Nice and freshly Zamboni'd. Get those passes zipping across real nice on the clean sheet of ice. And we get to the second period, and on that power play, Jackhughes has it down low. He tries to feed Palat in the slot. The pass is deflected by a Flyer, and it goes right to Palat, and he buries it.
He's got 2 cups, and that's a lot. Ondrej Palat.
He's got 2 cups, and that's a lot. Ondrej Palat. Ondrej Palat with his 11th of the season on the power play at 54 seconds from Jackhughes and Jesper Bratt gives the Devils the 1-0 lead, and I love to see Palat producing. I love Pally. He's a great guy. I've met him a bunch of times. Super fan-friendly. Just seems like a great locker room guy. He just wants to win, and unfortunately a lot of people have been down on him because of his contract and all that, and I get it all. I mean, it's an unfortunate situation, but he can produce in big moments, and tonight, he gets that goal on the power play, ends up being the game winner. The Devils did not need any more to win this one, but what a goal by Pally. Love to see him getting in there. And then shortly after the Palat goal, Brendendillon absolutely crushes Owen Tippett, destroys him with a massive hit. Tippett is knocked out of the game, a momentum-swinging hit for sure, and the type of hit that I'd love to see. Can change momentum like that. We haven't seen a bunch of these lately. Dillon throws a huge one, knocks Tippett out of the game. And you saw the ice tilt in the Devils' favor after that. I don't think there's any denying that that was a momentum-changing moment of the game. Dillon with a monster hit. Shout out to Dilly. He is just an absolute beast. And are the heavier, edgier, more violent Devils back? Are they back? I'm double heavier, edgier, more violent. If you're newer to the channel, you didn't have a chance. Heavier, edgier, more violent winter hats. Nice embroidered, heavier, edgier, more violent on the front. We got the nice Running with the Devils, fully embroidered logo on the back. Keep your head warm in the winter. Heavier, edgier, more violent hats. Link in description. But, wow, what a hit by Dillon. Devils up 1-0. Second period rolls on. Luke Hughes steps into the D zone and grabs a loose puck. He just starts flying up the ice, and he emerges in a 2-on-1 with big brother Jack. He looks at Jack, freezes the defender, waits until the defender sweeps a stick back towards Jack, and then he fires one past Ersson and into the net.
He's long, strong, and down to get the defense on. Lucas Hughes.
Lucas Hughes. Luke Hughes gets his 4th of the season unassisted at 6:27, giving the Devils a 2-0 lead, and nobody happier than big brother Jack. After Luke buried that, you saw the ear-to-ear smile on Jack's face. That should tell you everything. Devils with the big 2-0 lead. What a beautiful play by Luke Hughes, just to come flying up the ice, freeze the defender. You'd love to see it. Hopefully we see a lot more of that from Luke as we go on into the playoff drive here. Devils up 2-0, period continues. Mid-period or so, they get another power play. Timo Meier takes a shot. It's deflected by Sealer. It ends up bouncing in the crease, and Bastian pounces on it and puts it in the back of the net. Nate Bastian gets his 3rd of the season on the power play at 12:41 from Timo Meier and Luke Hughes, giving the Devils a 3-0 lead. And at this point, I am rejoicing. You know, I was happy with 1-0. I was happy with the 2-0, but then I was like, one more would really make me feel comfortable. And one of those types of games where you can just kind of sit back and relax and enjoy what's going to be an inevitable win. And after Nate buried that one, I was like, all right, that's it. We're going to lock this down. We're going to win this game. And it felt good to just kind of coast to a victory for the first time. Well, I guess not the first time. The Bruins game was like that too, but we haven't seen too many of them in the year 2025. Nice to see another one of them. Love to see Nate get on the score sheet. Nate gets his 3rd. And a minute and 2 seconds later, Devils in the O-zone. Timo takes a shot that is blocked, and it looks like it's going to come out of the zone. Brett Pesce makes an amazing one-handed sweep to get the puck back to Timo. Timo drives the net, throws on a little move, freezes the defender, and throws a pass across the ice to Mercer, and Mercer buries it. What a beautiful pass from Timo Meier. Mercer's 13th of the season at 13:43 from Timo Meier and Brett Pesce, giving the Devils a commanding 4-0 lead. And at that point, I was just waiting to see the fisticuffs in the 3rd period or later in the 2nd there. The 2nd period got super chippy, a million penalties called. The refs were trying to get control of the game and cool down the temperature a bit, and they unfortunately were successful in doing so. With all the penalties, it got out of hand, and we never quite saw the fight that we all wanted to see. The toughest man in the National, Curtis MacDermid, was out there looking for one badly, and no one on the Flyers wanted any part of him. It was very clear. Their heavyweight enforcer, Delorier, out of the lineup, and so they didn't really have a guy who was willing to take on a challenge like Curtis MacDermid, as it would have likely resulted in a painful beatdown. And so no one wanted a piece of Curtis. I thought someone might be brave enough to step up to Brendendillon, but the score got out of control in a hurry, and maybe Keefe ordered them not to fight at that point. But for a while there in that 2nd period, super chippy, lots of scrums. I thought some fisticuffs were inevitable. Unfortunately, we were cheated out of them by the refs, but I have no complaints. A dominant 4-0 lead heading into the 3rd. And at 1:58, Pesce breaks up a play in the D zone, hits Jack with a quick pass in the neutral zone. Jack turns on the Jets, comes flying up the wing, comes in on nearly a 2-on-1 with Bratter. There's a second Flyer in hot pursuit, like trailing the play just by half a step. Jack passes it to Bratt. Bratt gets it right back across to Jack, and Jack buries one in the wide open net. One of the easier ones Jack's going to get. Jack's 20th of the season at 1:58 from Jesper Bratt and Brett Pesce, giving the Devils a 5-0 lead. That is how the game would end. And what a beautiful performance on home ice for your New Jersey Devils, finally beating the Flyers, making the season series 1-2 at the moment. Whew, what a game. What a game. It had a little bit of everything. We go to the game stats. Flyers with 24 shots on goal, the Devils with 26. Flyers 49.1% in the faceoff circle to the Devils 50.9%. It's amazing that the Devils got just slightly squeaked out the win in the faceoff circle without Nico Hischier, because we all saw last game it was abysmal. Devils' penalty kill was phenomenal tonight. Flyers going 0 for 4 on the power play. Shout out to special teams. And on the other side of the special teams, the Devils were 2 for 3 on the power play. Amazing work. Absolutely amazing work. The penalty kill going 4 for 4. Power play going 2 for 3. That is a recipe for success, and success they had. Flyers with 11 hits, Devils with 22. Out-hit them 2-1. I would obviously like to see way more hits than 22, but out-hitting the Flyers by a 2-1 ratio. Heavier, edgier, more violent. The Flyers thrust them into a physical war. The Devils responded, answered the bell. You'd love to see it, and there's something there, folks. We'll touch on that a little bit later. Flyers with 15 giveaways, the Devils with 17 giveaways. Flyers with 3 takeaways, and the Devils with 1 takeaway. And wow, oh wow, what a game. What a game. This game for your New Jersey Devils saw 5, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5. 5 different goal scorers, 2 power play goals, 3 even strength goals. You absolutely love to see it. A lot of people have been worried about the Devils' 5-on-5 offense as of late, and it's fair. It's struggled at times, and at times the offense overall has disappeared. Tonight was not one of them. We explode for 5 again. 2 on the power play, 3 at even strength. Love to see it. And the New Jersey Devils, don't look now. Don't look now. Your New Jersey Devils have won 3 of their last 4 games, starting with that beautiful explosion against the Bruins at home on Jacques Lemaire Ring of Honor night last week. They followed it up with a beautiful win in overtime in Montreal. Then they had that stinker in Philly a couple nights ago and a big rebound at home last night against Philly, winning 3 of the last 4. And for those that say physicality doesn't matter, and the people, oh, you're living in the old times, and you're an old-timer, and that doesn't matter anymore, and all the people and the detractors that have flamed me and talked smack over the past few months, and even dating back to last season, I hope last night's game served as a lesson for you, a case study, if you will, in modern-day hockey. Physicality absolutely matters. You saw the boys engaged. They were battling it out all game long, and wow. Heavier, edgier, more violent, and it resulted in a win. And it took, maybe we have to thank the Flyers. It took the Flyers initiating that type of play to really push the Devils to answer and rise above. I wish the Devils would come out and kind of assert their will on teams and play that way. But all too often, it seems they needed to be pulled into that type of game. And the Flyers did it early with a couple big hits, and the Devils responded, and they started picking it up. None bigger than that monster Dillon hit in the first period. We saw a very scrappy second period. The Devils didn't back down for the most part. And you love to see it. Physicality absolutely matters in this league. I talk about it time and time again. You saw what the Panthers did last year in winning the Cup, and the season before they went all the way to the Cup Finals and lost. But they play playoff-type warfare hockey all season long, and that is a recipe to win, even in the modern NHL. And I don't see how you could say anything but that. I mean, it was painfully obvious during the game last night. The Curtis MacDermid effect. The New Jersey Devils, just for those keeping score at home, Curtis MacDermid played in his 20th game last night. And some of you may be like, yeah, we don't see MacDermid that much. How does the team play with him in the lineup? That is a great question. And I will tell you, with Curtis MacDermid in the Devils lineup this season, they are 12-4-4, which is 28 of 40 possible points, which is 700 hockey, .700 hockey. Phenomenal. 700 hockey is absolutely amazing. Nearly 100 points better than their current pace of 604. As of last night's win, they are playing 604 hockey. Hopefully we get closer to the mid-6s. And obviously, you know, the Washington Capitals are just an absolute beast this year. They're playing like 730 hockey. Never thought they'd be able to sustain it this long, but here we are, and we're in a battle. But there's no denying the Curtis MacDermid effect, folks. 12-4-4 with him in the lineup, 700 hockey. He needs to be in the lineup way more than he has been. I'm not saying he needs to be in for every single game, but there was a handful of games this season that I thought he definitely should have been in, and he wasn't. Hopefully, Sheldon Keefe kind of, you know, rewards MacDermid and plays him a little bit more than he has been. In the post-game press conference, Keefe did acknowledge that he knew Curtis had to play in this game, that it was going to be one of those types of games where his presence is very much needed, his energy. He talked about the energy he brings to the team, fires up the boys. You love to see it, and hopefully we see a little bit more of Curtis MacDermid down the stretch here. Jake Allen. Got to give Jake Allen his flowers. Solid in net, stopping all 24 shots for his 3rd shutout of the season. And what more can we say about Jake Allen, guys? I've said, you know, since Markey got hurt, that I do believe in Jake Allen. I do believe he could rack up wins for this club if the team in front of him shows up. That last game in Philly, the team didn't really show up, and while Allen didn't have his best game, I don't put the loss on him whatsoever. That was truly a team loss, but he is very capable. He made some big saves en route to the shutout. A lot of them were really, really dangerous saves, high-quality, dangerous saves. Not more you could say about Jake. Hopefully he follows it up, you know, with this stretch coming up to the Four Nations break and can continue to play at this level, and the team could play in front of him. I fully believe in Jake Allen. He was a beast tonight, and I would not make any changes for the game Sunday in Buffalo. I would run this exact lineup. I would keep the line combinations the same. I would keep the defensive pairings the same. The team just overall looked very good. We saw a little bit of everything. Again, hopefully they play with that edge. Keefe talked about that in the postgame as well. He told the guys they need to step up and really stand their ground, and he had mentioned he thought one of the only guys that really did that in that last game at Philly was Brendendillon. And you never have to question Dilly, man. Brendendillon, one of my favorite players on this roster, throwback player, throws the hits, looks to make the smart plays. He is the epitome of heavier, edgier, more violent, will not hesitate to drop the gloves, and he's just a throwback guy that wants to win and will do whatever it takes to win. Love Brendendillon, and another great game from him, in my opinion. And hopefully we see this exact lineup on Sunday. I think the D pairings are interesting. The defense seemed to be generating some chances tonight, even with these new unfamiliar pairings. And overall, it was a great game. I think there's no reason, coming off a 5-0 win, run the exact same lineup Sunday in Buffalo, and we hope to give Lindy Ruff, former head coach Lindy Ruff, yet another loss on the painful Sabres season that he is enduring. But they need the points. And by no stretch am I saying, the Devil, a lot of people are, the Devils are so back, this, that, and the other thing. I'm not going to proclaim that yet. This is another step in the right direction. Obviously, that game at Philly was very disheartening. It was just a very lackluster effort on so many levels. But you have to look at winning 3 of the last 4 is somewhat encouraging. And if we can continue to build on that, heading into the Four Nations break, where we hopefully get healthy and get Markstrom and Nico back as soon as possible after the break, this team playing to their capabilities with a healthy lineup, as I've said many times before, I believe this team could play with and beat any team in the National Hockey League. Now, on the flip side of that, consistency has obviously been this New Jersey Devils club biggest Achilles heel. They have not been able to play like this consistently, and a lot of you have been saying, this is the same team as last year, and the league figured us out, this, that, and the other thing. And I understand all of it. And there has been instances during the season where it did seem like shades of last year. That's inevitable. We all still have PTSD of last year, a season that was so promising and all just fell apart as the season went on. But I do believe this team is much better than last year, and if they can consistently play anywhere near the top of their game, especially with a healthy Jacob Markstrom in net, I truly believe this team can beat anyone in the National Hockey League. And I revert back to my saying from a month or two ago, why not us? Why not us? But it starts with consistency. And they've shown that while they can beat the best teams in the league, whether it's Florida or Carolina, they also have the capability of losing to some of the worst teams in the league. And that's just an unfortunate characteristic that does stem back to last season. Getting swept by the Sharks, losing to the Ducks, tons of instances of just struggling against teams that on paper we should beat. And for the 1,000,000th time, I will say there are no automatic wins in this league. Teams are coming to win every night. The parity in the NHL, I do believe, is more than any other sport. On any given night, the best team in the league can lose to the worst team. And I believe you see it way more often in the NHL than you see it in, Major League Baseball, the NFL, or the NBA. The parity in hockey really is special. It gives any team can win on any given night, especially if the goalie's playing hot. And hopefully we see this Devils team start to be more consistent, play near the top of their game, get average to above average goaltending, and everything should be fine. But I am not proclaiming they're out of the woods yet. We are in a dogfight for the playoffs here, folks. There's 29 games left after last night's game. We are in like the pre-playoff drive. It's every game is basically a playoff now. We're going to be playing tons of teams hungry for points. With the loser point, tons of teams hang on much later in the season than they would have before they instituted the loser point. It was brought in to keep teams relevant longer. That is a fact. It's a business. The league doesn't want empty arenas if teams are, out of the playoffs months before the season ends. It's bad for TV ratings. And so with this loser point in overtime in the shootout, we see teams relevant much later into the season now. And there's going to be a ton of teams clawing to either get into a wild card spot or improve their standings for the playoffs. And there's going to be no easy games. This team needs to go into playoff mode now. Hopefully they could flip that switch. We could come out of this terrible slide that they've been on in 2025 and just play hungry, inspired, heavier, edgier, more violent New Jersey Devils hockey, because you saw last night what the team looks like when they're playing like that, and it was a thing of beauty. Top to bottom, an absolute thing of beauty, but let me know what you thought about this game in the comments. Let me know what you thought about anything I had mentioned in this video in the comments. Anything, everything, New Jersey Devils hockey. Throw it out there in the comments. I enjoy talking to all of you. The ride continues, guys. It's been a fun season. We've had our highs and lows. Hopefully more highs coming into this Four Nations break. But wow, what a thrilling victory. Wins like that really, they feel so good. They feel so good, but I'll be back soon. I'm working on a ton of exciting stuff. Hopefully I could give you guys some entertainment during that Four Nations break. I have a bunch of cool stuff planned. But yeah, I'll be back soon. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go. Devils.